Hi guys, welcome back to my kitchen. I'm Michael. After the response I got from doing the crispy chili beef recipe, I am now doing you another Chinese classic, which is beef, green pepper, black bean and garlic. Also, in response to my last video, I've had some suggestions for a name of a YouTube channel if I ever get round to doing it. And the ones that I like are Lau's Chow and Chow With Lau. Who doesn't like rhyming, eh? So yeah, one of those is going to probably be the name of the channel if it's going to happen. But enough of that, let's get on with the recipe. So for this recipe, you'll need some beef. Today we are using some sirloin steak. This really tastes nice and has a really nice texture for this recipe. Some green peppers and some red peppers and some onions. I like to mix it up with a bit of red peppers because you get that extra sweetness, which is always really nice. You can use whatever comes down what you like. Yellow peppers are really nice as well because I think they're the sweetest. But I like the combination of red and green for the colour more than anything else. But obviously you get a bit of a contrast in flavours there. Black bean. In here actually we've got black bean, we've got chopped garlic and some fresh ginger. Also a little bit of salt so that when we start to cook it off, the flavour of the black bean starts to sort of leach out and then sort of spread through the sauce a little bit better. Now black bean is a fermented soya bean. You can get it from most Asian supermarkets. You can probably buy it on Amazon if you look for it. Don't be afraid of it. It looks a little bit strange, but it's a really nice ingredient. The flavors are amazing and we're going to show you how to use it today. Cool. We also need some light soy sauce, some sesame oil, some cooking oil, a little bit of sugar and some corn flour and water mixed to thicken. You can use whatever you got to hand. Plain flour will be fine, potato starch will be fine. I like to use corn flour because it gives you a nice silkier sauce. If you use plain flour, it still works really well, but it gives you more of an opaque sauce. It looks a little bit more floury, but to be fair, it works just fine, so don't worry about that. So yeah, so let's get into it. Right, so we're going to take this steak and we're going to trim the fat off of it, because nobody wants a mouthful of fat when we are eating this dish. Okay, weirdly enough, I'm one of these people who loves a bit of fat on their steak, but for this sort of dish you don't want it, at least not a lot of it. So we're going to cut the steak into little strips. This is one of those secrets of Chinese cooking. We use sort of thinner strips because when you're in the wok, you want to do it quick, you want to do it hot, you want to do it quick. So we're just going to slice it up, like so. Like I said, we're using steak because that gives us a nice texture and obviously a bit of flavour comes into the dish. When you're deep frying anything like the crispy chili beef we did for the last video, using a cut of meat like this might be a bit of a waste because by the time you finish with it, you don't really get to appreciate that it is a steak. And there you go. So we're going to put it into this bowl here. And the next step is to make the marinade. So I'm going to grab a spoon. To marinate this beef, we are going to use a teaspoon of sesame oil, maybe a little bit more actually, a touch more. That's perfect. And we're going to go in with, I don't know, maybe 1, 2, 3 teaspoons of light soy sauce, which makes a really good marinade. And we're going to put a teaspoon of sugar. which will help the meat caramelize as well. And this is where you go in with your fingers. The smell of sesame oil on any kind of meat is just amazing. It's really nice. Okay, so we give that a good squidging. Cool. And now we can set it aside onto the black bean. So the next step is to get the black bean and garlic ready. So what we're going to do is add a little cooking oil to your wok, not too much. And then we're going to put the mix of black bean, garlic and ginger and this little bit of salt that's in there straight into the pan. And we're kind of like, obviously usually when you're toasting something, you know, when you're toasting sesame seeds or something like that, or peanuts, we don't add oil, but we're going to add some oil. We've added some oil to this because then the flavour can go into the oil and we can use it, and that will help disperse it in the sauce when we're actually cooking the main dish. So we're just gently going to fry this off, if you like. And again, I wish you had smell-o-vision because this stuff is amazing. I'm pretty sure all of you have had black bean and something in your eating careers, but this is amazing. It just makes your mouth water straight away. Okay, so we are just gently going to cook this off for a few minutes and let it all start to, let all the sort of the aromas and the flavours start to kind of amalgamate. I think the secret to this is not to burn the garlic. If you have your flame too hot, it's going to burn the garlic and that will give you a bitter taste. So try to avoid that. We're just gently cooking it out. When you cook garlic very fine, it burns quite easily. So we want to try to avoid that. We don't really want to put too much colour in it at all. This is actually my mum's recipe. So hopefully it'll work for you guys. I do it quite often and it works for me. So I think Mum will be quite pleased that I'm putting it on video. One of the things I want to do in the future, after all this lockdown is over, is actually video my mum do the recipes that she knows, which are pretty, you know, the traditional ones, not so much the stuff you find commonly at restaurants and takeaways, but like proper traditional Chinese cooking. I'd love to do that. Now I've got the bug for doing my own videos, I'm pretty sure that I'll be videoing my mum at some point and hopefully sharing it with you guys. Right, that's that done. So we're going to tip this back into the little bowl, ready for the next stage. Okay, and the oil that's in the wok at the moment, I'm going to keep it like that. I'm not going to get rid of it, I'm not going to clean it because that's already got some flavour into it. So that'll add to the final dish. We don't want to wash that away, we want to maximise what we've got. Right, for the next stage, we're going to start cooking the beef. So what we're going to do is add a little bit more oil into our wok, get that up to temperature. The important thing when you're cooking beef especially, but any kind of meat when you're doing stir fry, is to get the wok nice and hot. Okay, because we want to really sear the meat as much as we can. If you've ever been to into a kitchen of a takeaway or a restaurant, they have these big turbo burners. They're amazing. In fact, I've seen one once where you switch on the gas and there's so much force from the gas. The wok, which is normally about that big, lifts off by about 2 or 3 inches. That's how powerful those jets are. I wouldn't like to have their gas bill, having said that. Right, so we're going to put the beef in. Oh yes, that's the noise that you need to hear. Yeah, that means you're onto the right track. Now what you want to do, what you don't want to do, is to move your beef too much to begin with. If you start moving it too soon, too much water escapes from the beef and it'll start to broil, and what that'll do is it won't actually caramelise. So you want to leave it for, I don't know, 30 seconds or so before you start moving around. If you start stirring straight away, you will not caramelize it. It's like if you put a steak in, you shouldn't touch it until you're ready to turn it over. Same principle. Okay, so we're about that level now, so we can start, I think, moving it. There you go, can you see that? That's how it should be. So you want to try to turn each individual piece of meat, if you can, onto the other side. Amazing. Keep that wok hot, keep the flame on hot. Okay, and sear that beef through. And once it's seared, we can now add the black bean mixture. And give that a good stir. And once we've got that going, we can now add our peppers and onions. Now, the secret to getting the vegetables right is not to overcook them. As you can see, the vegetables I've cut in a kind of chunky way, trying to keep the pieces approximately the same size as much as I can, which means they should cook evenly. But we don't want to overcook it. The peppers and the onions should have some bite left in them when you eat it. Okay, what you don't want is just a mushy, soggy pepper, because quite frankly it's just not nice. And toss that through. Okay. At this stage I'm gonna whack a little bit more light soy sauce in. I'm not going to add any salt because that light soy sauce should take care of all the seasoning for you. And there we go. Can you see that colour? It's beautiful. Okay, once we got to this stage, we can add some water. I've boiled this water recently, so it's quite hot. So it shouldn't take much to get it up to temperature. And also I'm going to add another teaspoon of sugar. So we're just going to get this up to boiling, and we're nearly there. This is how quick this dish is, matter of minutes. Okay, nice and bubbly. And to thicken the sauce, the final bit, we're going to add the corn flour and water mixture. There's about 2 tablespoons of corn flour here, and it's one of those non-Newtonian liquids when you add the water in. If anybody knows what that means, if you hit it, it kind of goes solid, which I had plenty of fun with when I was a kid. So we're going to just add that in now. And that should thicken up the sauce nicely. And there you go. See that? The corn flour gives it a nice glossy sauce. And as we heat through that, the beef should be just about done, and the peppers and the onions should be nicely cooked, but with a little bit of crisp bite to them left. We want some texture. Cool. And now we can pop it in a bowl. Probably my bowl's too small. No, just right. That's not too bad at all. There you go, guys. Beef, green pepper, black bean and garlic. Voila. So the proof of the pudding is in the eating, as they say. I'm going to try a little bit. That's pretty good. The sauce is tasty without being overpowering. The black beans coming through. The beef is nice and tender. I can just about make out the sesame oil and the sweetness coming from that little bit of sugar I put in. It really makes all the difference. So yeah, here's another one for you to try, guys. Please send me any pics or videos of your recipes. The feedback I'm getting from those is excellent. So, and everybody seems to be able to follow my video so far. So it's really cool. I'm really enjoying it. So I'm going to do some more. Probably do a few more this weekend, and we'll see how we go with it. So yeah, thanks for joining in, and happy cooking.